multiplication with decimals is just like multiplying without decimals, with the exception that we have to add the number of decimal places in each of our factors into our final product. So we need to count how many digits are to the right of the decimal point in our factors. In this case, there are 2. So our answer needs to have 2 digits to the right of the decimal point. So we will just take 0.7 times 0.2, multiply the two numbers together. So 7 times 2 is 14. 2 times 0 is 0, plus the 1 is 14. When I move over into the next place, I bring a 0 down. 0 times 7 is 0. 0 times 0 is 0. I'll add the results. I'm still going to get that 14, but since I had 2 digits to the right of my decimal point in my factors, I need to have 2 digits to the right of the decimal point in my product. Same thing here. I need to count the digits. I have 1, 2, 3. So after I do the multiplication, I need to move the decimal point so that there are 3 digits to the right of it in my final product. 1.33 times 0.5. Notice here that while in this instance, since they were both to the 10th place, the decimal points lined up. In this instance, since this has more decimals than this does, the decimal points don't line up, and that's fine. The only thing that's really going on here is that we're multiplying essentially 133 times 5 and then moving the decimal point over 3 places. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 5 is 15, plus this 1 would be 16. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 would be 6. When I move over to the next place, I add a 0 down here. 0 times 3 is 0. 0 times 3 is 0. And 0 times 1 is 0. I add them all up. 5, 6, 6, 0, and I'll go back up. I need 1, 2, 3 digits to the right of the decimal point, so I have 1, 2, 3 digits to the right of the decimal point. Looking at these numbers, same thing. I have 1 digit and 1 digit, so I know my answer, my product, is going to have 2 digits to the right of the decimal point. 7.2, 5.8. The decimals happen to line up here because I had an equal number of digits to the right of the decimal point above. 8 times 2, 16. 8 times 7 is 56, plus 1 would be 57. Move down here. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 7 is 35, plus 1 would be 36. 6, 7, 6 plus 5 is 11. 3 plus 1 is 4. I need to have 2 digits to the right of my decimal point, so I will add the decimal point here, so there are 2 digits to the right of it. I'll look at this one next. I have a rather large decimal and a rather small decimal, keeping in mind that I don't need to line these decimal points up. Just multiply as normal and account for the number of places later. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the right of the decimal point here, and 1 to the right of the decimal point here. So that's a total of 6 digits I'm going to have to the right of the decimal point in my answer. 9 times 3 is 27. 9 times 3 is 27, plus 2 is 29. 9 times 0 is 0, plus 2 is 2. 9 times 0 is 0. 9 times 0 is 0. And 9 times 2 is 18. When I move to the next decimal place, I have to add a 0 here. 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 3 is 18, plus this 1 is 19. 6 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. 6 times 0 is 0. 6 times 0 is 0. And 6 times 2 is 12. When I add all these up, I have 7. 9 plus 8 is 17. 9 plus 1 is 10, plus 2 is 12. 1 plus 1 is 2. 0, 8, 3, 1. And now I need to have 6 digits to the right of my decimal point. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. and we'll put my decimal point here. Now, going back up to review these, it's always good to estimate your work. This is less than 1 times another number that is less than 1, so my answer better be less than 1. This number is a little bit bigger than 1, and I'm taking half of it, so my number should be less than 1, and it is. This is about 7. This is about 6, so my answer should be about 7 times 6, or 42. If I had the decimal point here, that would be 417. That's not about 42. If I had the decimal point here, that would be 4, and that's not about 42. So you can use estimating to make sure you're right. I skipped one over here too. This number down here is 2, and this number is about 7. So 2 times 7 is about 14, and this number is about 14. So I know that I'm pretty close. All right, let's do this one here, and then we'll do the other one that I left out. 0.856 times 3.1. 1, 2, 3 digits to the right of the decimal point. 1 digit to the right of the decimal point, so I will need a total of 4. 6 times 1 is 6. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 8 is 8. And 1 times 0 is 0. I move to the next place over. I have to put a 0 down. 6 times 3 is 18. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 1 is 16. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 1 is 25. 3 times 0 is 0, plus 2 is 2. Add them up. 6. 8 plus 5 is 13. 8 plus 6 is 14, plus 1 is 15. 5 plus 1 is 6, and bring down the 2. I need to have 4 digits to the right of my decimal point, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Up here, I had a number less than 1 that was being multiplied by around 3, so my number should be less than 3, and it is.